Yeah, is there room for more than one bass player in a band?
Sure, hundreds.
Because I heard of this English band.
Fela Kuti.
Yeah, and this English band, Ned, they got 2 guys on bass. I don't know what they sound like, but...
No, it's not, except for Dose.
Well, I mean, not like that. And rock
How
and roll.
much of Dose...
Does Kira like not playing bass, or she didn't give a shit? Does she miss playing bass?
That's all she knows.
Bass?
Yeah.
What about her
She's
computer?
true. She is pure.
What about singing? Where are you guys' fucking tasty vocals?
Vocals.
Come on.
Yeah, I try to pretend like I'm a bass when I spiel. Pretty weak.
I love the singing.
Are you a little P?
Little P. You're a harmony guy. You do second fiddle on vocals too.
Do you love the sky and the trees?
If Chris asked you to take a solo, would you? If Kurt asked you to take a solo, would you take it?
Bass solo? I take the fucking bass solos.
Remember Sid?
Who's the fastest guy?
Right. Well, the flip side poll was the only poll I listened to.
I don't give a crap about that because I don't think we're really here.
And Sid Vicious beat me out 2 years after he's dead.
Yeah, I think we're all.
And to me, that was justice.
You won. Did you win? You
Well,
won it.
after 2 years of Sid getting me, and then I got it, and then Mikey from the Fenders, and we
You
all
got the Minor
traded.
Threat one.
Right.
What the hell are these guys talking about over
We're talking about
Flip side
polls here.
poll. The flips know what
fucking Flipside always hated me and my fucking shitty little band because Flipside's such a
Yeah,
fucking...
but Chris, I looked up to your bass player.
No, you don't, Michael. You know I suck.
So, Chris, do you like to play an E flat next to a B?
Yeah, right.
Yes, I do.
Dixlodian. When Bobby Dylan, when you're backing up Bobby Dylan, you do a Dixlodian
kind of guy.
Do you ever connect the lower tribulator with the red blinking lights with a
I'm a
sideways
Dorian
twirl?
and Lydian and no, I like to
Do you like to be more trebly or more boomy?
I like to fucking break shit, a lot of shit, and fucking wind up
Do you wanna-
dead. Uh-oh.
Do you want to cuddle up with Jaw Wobble?
No, he's a fucking. Who do I like on everything? What are we talking about?
I think Jaw Wobble. Do you guys like Jaw Wobble?
I said, do you like a trebly or do you like a boomy?
Can we rewind?
Oh, Jaw Wobble, right.
Who rock is to me, you know. I mean,
Your brother's guitar hero, but you did a great job. I've always looked up to you the way you set him up.
yeah, well,
Like
that's the thing
Maiden's
about
Milk, you know, or Up on the or any of that stuff. You know how to get the chords fat enough and
And that's
prop
what
him
helps.
up.
I mean, that's what the bass player
Not
does.
such a cliche way, though. You know, if people go for the easy bass thing, they set him up in a cliche. The guitar player can't be himself. He has to go for some, the Beat It solo and do Eddie Van Halen again.
And you look at what makes up a world, and it's a lot of different things. And some things have the function of being pointy and sharp and colorful,
Yeah.
and other things are flat and dull and supportive or whatever. And
Take turns.
it's, and it works though. It works, and people aren't very good at getting to that let it work thing. Some people's are,
Right.
but then you start to mix them up, and they insist on killing each other.
Like when you did that ballad.
So if you can just, I think that being a bass player and having a band, I think the whole concept of a band and music
It's an important thing.
I think
the kids look at it like a perfect state. They look at it as where politics really works. They look up to a band as an ideal. Look, these guys come together and they make they don't know the reality, that's like anything else.
Works.
They look up to it and they say, look at this. These guys come together, make a living, and create. And they look up to it as the perfect political state.
I think they do.
But the idea of empowering all the sectors of the band, it's not, you don't have the little lackeys. I have images of them English bands where the manager has all these kids in the little suits, right? The Beatles suits with no collar. Right. When you were doing that ballad
I think systems
about...
are always that way, though, Michael. I think
I don't want to be...
Yeah.
Were you worried about playing too much? Because what worries about this when Edward gets soft? I worry about... you too,
playing
probably.
Too much?
Yeah.
Playing too much.
No, that made money.
Yeah.
They tried it with the Clash, right?
Yeah. So you think it's down to
They're
the
not
dollar?
afraid of ideas and stuff like
it's
this.
just down to the dollar then? And does that bastardize everything? Does that make it all worse?
No, but I think
so
there's...
you think basically human life is
I think there's parallel universes. And I have to be part of Pacific Bell or General Telephone, GTE, to talk to you across the country. But when I'm done, I hang up the phone.
But why talk
I have to. I got to use their wires, their company.
You gotta use? You mean you have to let your desires and your wants that have been implanted in you by their system run you through their little system?
No, I wanted to write a song. I wanted to give you some lyrics for your tune. And I used their phone.
You don't think that you're absolutely and entirely a member of a herd? You said it yourself earlier.
Yeah, I am part of it.
Learn their language.
Learn their language. And he who owns the keys, owns the cymbals, owns the keys, is truly what I believe.
So where are we in their system? Nothing more than fluff, effluvia, especially the bass.
What we're doing here is we're empowering future soldiers against the machine that has been built in the religion that was built around rock and roll. We're trying to empower dudes by saying you can run the band, you can be a good part of the band if you're a bass player.
But we're trying to empower them using the machine that that we're against supposedly. I mean, we're only here on Sony's good plans. This looks like a pretty expensive studio.
Unless I got the bones up and did it myself.
Did you?
Oh no, but if I might have. Now I'm really into this.
For Sony's sake.
No, for mine.
To tear down Sony, who you're now released records on. Is this bad or you're not sure?
To tear down Sony. Yeah.
We love Sony.
Yeah, I'm here to tear.
Hey, look at it! It's a Sony camera he's using.
I say, get the record companies bucks and make records, and have a good time, and people listen to them, and get all the bucks you can out of them. That's what I say, and that's always been my philosophy.
Given.
Right.
I know you've always had that, and you guys do great.
I mean, what the heck?
And you're a hell of a player. No, you're a well-rounded dude, Michael. I have a hell of a lot of respect for both of you guys, but you give yourself too much shit, man. You smoke, and you should fucking be.
I give myself shit. I work a lot.
You give yourself more shit than any musician I've ever met.
He does. Michael,
I've gone up and seen you play.
High road, low road. I'm not doing that bad.
I've gone to see you play.
Why am I doing that bad?
I'm just talking about. I'm not even talking about that.
I'm not doing that bad. These women are doing that bad. We were on the way up. Never wrecked themselves a little more.
Yeah, but you guys
come on.
I'm talking about like when
nobody's keeping themselves down.
I see you play and I see there's like performance. I'm really on the verge of tears because it's so amazing and you're playing so beautifully and giving everything that. And then after you come off and you're like, I fucking choked. I choked.
Sometimes I do choke. All right, make all the money.
Make all the money and take it to the bank and grow.
I said we pass the bass around. Each guy plays for 8 seconds.
I just never did it for that reason. And I don't want to make anybody richer because of he exploited me. Don't get me wrong. Right? If I work, I want my wage. I will not be cheated.
Get your wage and get a big wage.
Get the best I can.
The best wage you can.
Okay, but on the other hand, I'm not going to let that be my driving force.
Not your driving force.
Yeah, no, I don't think it is. That's what I'm saying. I think you're just the coolest.
I just try my. I'm not the coolest. I got to get. I got to get my right hand together.
What's wrong with your right hand?
It gallops. Too much 2-finger gallop.
I like the big old.
I want to get 3, so it's more instead of the gallop.
Yeah. It's the same size as this one.
Well, I'm saying if you end up playing bass in your band, it's not a bad thing. And you can end up writing some songs. You can end up having a personality and a style and defining your band.
Eventually,
I think it's a great thing, and I think that's the reason why music is kind of changing. And that's my whole point here. As regards to life, Chris, I'll tell you, man.
It's not worth living.
I think you're unborn, and then you return to unborn.
Really?
Yeah. I think that's the natural state.
None of this mystical stuff for me, Mr. Okay.
I think you're standing above yourself, manipulating your arms and legs and vocal cords.
With strings of saliva.
Yes.
And anal oil.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Fecal fun with the folks.
And then you change your mind.
Bass being very, very good.
You know? Then you remember, and then you guess about the future. You remember. I mean, life isn't always in the present.
I remember one night I was playing
it's a trippy thing.
At a club, and fucking you were there, and I chucked my guitar up in the air. Speaking of bass,
pulled your pant.
And my guitar hit the ground, and he comes flying over and turned into the little bouncing gremlin of bass destruction. Remember that night?
That was the first. No, that wasn't the first time.
That was a long time. It was at Lingerie. And the guitar, I broke my neck. I broke the neck.
Oh yeah.
On that P bass. That
you smashed it.
Yeah.
I was just throwing it up and I dropped
it. It was an anodized pickguard thing.
Oh, then I smashed it.
And then you came over and started jumping up and down on it.
I'm totally dedicated to punk rock, 1,000,000,000%. I mean, I can't think of. There's nothing that can like rock my world more than a good headphone germs listening.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's just like the most intense rock music ever.
It's the most original. When I heard,
and anyone that ignores like such an important thing can't be relevant.
No.
You know?
And they were calling it new wave then, and now they call it alternative because they're afraid of the reality of it. Which means, hey, you're free to do what you want now. What are you going to do? And it's so scary they can't deal with it. They can't deal with the energy, with the. They got to have their thing, their little springboard. Oh man, I owe it so much. Fuck. So without it, we wouldn't even got gigs because we didn't know lame guys could play.
Well, I got to see the punk rock bands. And
I never liked punk rock.
Yeah, what about Derek? He turned you guys.
Derek liked punk. I thought punk was stupid.
Yeah, but it got you gigs.
I fucking hated it. Now, punk was cool. I liked a lot of those bands. They were great. I especially like the Germs, the dudes that killed themselves. Anybody that goes head over heels for life in a big way. Some of my favorite music are like indigenous music.
Well, what about the Grateful Dead guy who died in front of the TV with the Nintendo?
There you go.
Is that a good way to die?
Sure.
I could never be friends or like anyone that couldn't love the Germs.
Yeah, they were good.
I could never let someone into my heart that couldn't understand the beauty of the Germs.
I could.
I couldn't.
I can because my thing extends. That's where me and punk rock and my band never actually sunk into punk rock, or why we're not an alternative band or anything either. Because if you're gonna actually draw lines around shit, and if it has to stop there, I don't care, and they can be exclusionary enough. Because man, I'm not gonna totally piece it up.
Yeah, but if someone is offended by rudeness,
fuck them, I don't care.
Right away, and can't.
Just think of this, Michael. What if you ever got snowed in and you'd have put those people out of your lives, but you could have been snowed in with them and they might have died and you could have eaten them instead? No, you're gonna sit there and starve to death because they didn't like the Germs.
I like to starve with the Germs cassette and die.
Make little traps and try to catch other animals. I mean, there's always a way, isn't there?
No, not the winter.
There's always that fucking way. Yeah, I know. You're up there with the soccer team.
Let's just pretend that you're stuck out in it.
It's either the bass player or the drummer.
What could be on this?
That guitar player wins.
I just don't like the Germs. Then off the plane.
See you later.
You gotta like the Germs, though, because the Germs. But that's why there's more than one
you
band.
gotta like the Germs.
As I understand
yeah,
it.
you do.
You just say I got to.
Billie Holiday or Billie
Holiday would have loved
or not Billie Holiday.